Hey, what's up, guys, and welcome back to Anime King 3. And today I'm going to be giving you part 8 of What If Naruto Was Neglected with a solo leveling system. Remember to get this one to 100 like as usual. Share this to all of your friends on your social media platform. And also, guys, if you're new and this is the first time you hear my voice, I have 4 more channels. Yes, guys, 4 more. Anime King, Anime King 2, Anime Symbol, and Anime Prince, which I post what if on every single day for you guys to enjoy. So go ahead and obliterate that red subscribe button and become a part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all for helping your support. Don't forget to comment down below and tell me if you're new. I'll be replying and talking back to all of you. And also, guys, don't forget to go ahead and check out What If Naruto had the Pearl release over on Anime King. So without further ado or wasting more time, what do you say we jump right into this? Begin now, guys. So, the last time we left off, Mito and Menma were facing off against Gaara. The two shadows that Naruto had sent after them had the unconscious Temari and Kankuro, as they were holding them in place. The both of them clashed against Gaara as he was starting to transform. Gaara did not stand a chance in hell. Menma was enough to push him back within the exam hard. And with Mito adding her extra force, he was being demolished. However, he started to draw more power. He got so angry that he pulled upon the entire one-tail power and released Shikaku. The both of them realized how bad this had turned out until the two shadows landed and merged with their shadow. All of the power that these two shadows, two of Naruto elite shadows seemed to have, flew into them. Mito chains got so much more powerful, and Menma would release was taking on a stronger form. It was a truly shocking sight. However, with their combined power, it was now easy to take down a literal tail beast. Granted, it was just the one tail, but they were children, and they clashed with Shikaku. Meanwhile, that was going on. Minato was not sure what to say. He was silent with the whole affair, as his son was there. It was soon after that Orochimaru finally knew who Naruto was. He was more shocked to find out about the link between him and Minato. Now that was something that he was not expecting at all. Naruto pulled out a blade as he tossed it to Minato. He told him to use it against the reanimation where the tags were in their neck. Because of his special ability, he could see the weak points of anything, even the dead it seems, the reanimations included. The sword that Naruto handed Minato was anti-chakra. That is what he used to carve right through the barrier. The more Orochimaru looked how screwed he was, as the place was getting overrun. His men were getting slaughtered, the Uchihas, the Hyugas, and the other clans. His people were being butchered and he did not like it one bit. Naruto then proceeded to attack him. What followed was a truly devastating battle. Yes, Naruto held nothing back. He made sure that Orochimaru experienced all sort of pain. He carved and ripped into the man with every ounce of force that he had. He made sure that the Sannin suffer. As Naruto pulled out a technique that he called Dagger Rush, Orochimaru was forced to switch his body at least 3 times. Naruto was moving like a flash, using quick step. The Sannin found himself wishing that he could escape. However, Naruto was making sure escape was impossible. Menma and Mito arrived towards the location. As they landed, they were rather shocked as Naruto stood there over the bloody beaten Sannin. Minato was about to end it, but Naruto drive his blade right through Minato, his anti-chakra blade that he got back from him. Minato was shocked, thinking that his son was trying to kill him, as he collapsed. Orochimaru told the Zone 4 to quickly drop the barrier. Naruto's shadows quickly stopped them from intervening, as he pulled something out of his storage and embedded in the Sannin skull. A mark, an insignia appeared on the Sannin skull, something that he could not remove. Orochimaru had no choice but to flee after that. Minato asked Naruto why was he letting him escape. Naruto did not answer though. The envoy that came in quickly checked on their leader, as it was then that he found out that Minato was not wounded. Yes, he got hit, but the thing was, it was clean through. Naruto had stabbed no organs at all. He had did that, of course. As Kushina arrived on the scene, the both of them tried to speak to him. They tried to find a common ground. As Naruto turned toward his siblings, he made it clear that he was no longer connected to them, something that surely brought them down. However, he told his siblings that they should not hate them. They made sure that they live in a comfortable and happy environment, and they should love them for that. He didn't want because of him that he ruined their childhood. Mito begged him to stay, but he told her that he could not. There was still more that he had to do, and he was gone with his shadow, leaving Minato and Kushina extremely sad. Time passed after that. Kushina had went into a state of depression. Minato as well, but he was better at hiding it. Menma and Mito were there for their parents. They knew if Naruto could forgive them, they should really not hold a grudge against them. And they respected and wanted to listen to what he said despite barely knowing him. It was just something they felt. He helped them in the battle. He made sure they were safe, and for that they were forever grateful to him. Soon after that though, Orochimaru had been suffering for the past couple of weeks. He had killed a lot of his own people. It turns out what Naruto placed on him was a curse. Orochimaru could not get rid of it. No matter how hard he tried, switching bodies, nothing worked. He could not break it, it wasn't Fuinjutsu. The item that Naruto had got was a cursed item. Orochimaru was pushed to the brink physically and mentally, because he was actually feeling pain. While Naruto was not there, his nerve receptors were causing him pain because of the mark on his forehead, the item that Naruto stored into him that was bonded to his very soul. Orochimaru tried to end his own life, something the Sannin never thought he would actually try to do. However, the mark healed him, because it was also connected to Naruto, and Naruto chakra was being sapped out every time Orochimaru did something stupid. But Naruto had enough to spare him. Orochimaru was in agony. Every turn he looked, Naruto was there. Every move he made, Naruto was there, stabbing him. Even in his sleeps, he couldn't wake up as Naruto drowned him over and over again. It was chaos for the Sannin. As for Naruto, he was drinking with Tsunade. Yes, as both of them had met in a bar, where she had challenged him. At the end of the day, as he brought her home, towards the hotel to be more correct, she confirmed that she knew who he was. She was the one that came over to him. She had had a discussion with Jiraiya, who had came to find her, while he was searching for Naruto, and the both of them got to talk. So yes, she knew who Naruto was, and she had to say she saw it in his eyes. But she told him not to take the easy way out. She also thought about that in her time of depression. Naruto knew exactly what she was talking about. However, that was not his state of mind at the moment. She told him to take care of himself as he made his way off. However, Naruto ran into a bunch of ninjas in the outskirts of the village. A literal mini army. They were here for him. So yeah guys, basically as we left off, you guys can switch across the place of yourself. So what do you say we jump right into this new episode? Begin now guys. We begin this episode with Naruto. He was surrounded by a literal army. They have been tracking him for some time now and preparing themselves. The most dangerous amongst them all was the one at the front, clad in a red armor and a red hat as well. His name was Han. He was a holder of the Six Tails. He was a Jinjuliki. Naruto stood there in the center as he gazed up towards the heavens. The moonlight was shining down on him. There was a few beautiful stars in the night sky. Han stepped forward as he seemed to be leading this charge, whatever this was. "Surrender yourself, and we won't have to hurt you," he said. But Naruto was not looking at him. "Did you hear me?" said Han. Because Naruto was still focusing on the sky. Han made a gesture with his hand. Two of the ninjas flashed through hand sign. They created ropes that were made out of rock. It was flexible and extremely solid at the same time. They threw it. One wrapped around Naruto's left arm, the other one wrapped around his right arm. As two more came in and threw two more, they wrapped around both of his legs. They yanked. They tried to pull him apart, to bring him down. However, they could not make him move. The ninjas started to sweat, despite the cold night. They started putting in more physical strength, their muscles straining. Han saw this as a perfect opportunity to knock Naruto out. Steam came from his back, the ninjas behind him moving. He moved at an incredible speed, appearing in front of Naruto, his fists already cocked back. Steam came from his elbow as he drove his fist forward. Boom! His fist crashed into Naruto's face, so hard that his metal gloves cracked and broke off his arm. Han blinked in shock because Naruto had still not looked down. His gaze was still fixated on the sky, as calm as ever. Han retracted his hand. Naruto's lip had been busted by the punch. However, it healed just as quickly, leaving the blood on his lip. Naruto finally turned his gaze down. The guys on the other side still trying to hold him where he stood. "She told me that I need to focus on something else. Otherwise, the bad thoughts won't go away." Naruto was talking about his interaction with Snavi and what she told him as Naruto focused on the headband that Han was wearing. He pulled his head back. Before Han could move, he smashed it against his skull. The headband shattered right down the middle. Han staggered back, dizzy from the hit. Naruto gripped the stone whips and yanked them. He ripped his foot out of the other two. He caught the two ninjas by their throats. He crushed their skull together. Their bodies dropped right in front of him. He looked up as he saw hundreds of mud bullets rushing towards him. They demolished the earth where he once stood. Naruto reappeared distance away with just raw speed. He focused on the army that was converging even more. He released a breath. "Kill them," he said. "Kill them all." Upon saying that, his shadow expanded, and hundreds of warriors started to leap out of it. The ninjas quickly armed themselves as they started to clash with the shadow warriors. Han came rushing out of the group. He was covered in steam. The closer he got, the more Naruto felt the heat. However, his body, because of the system, has been so used to harsh environment. Han's steam was like an effect in nature that could barely even mess with the temperature of his skin. Han crashed right into Naruto, yet Naruto did not move. As he locked his arms around the giant, Han was rather large. Naruto pressed his leg in the ground before lifting Han straight up over his head, and he brought him down with a tremendous amount of force. The ground shattered as Naruto flipped away. He landed as Han picked himself up. Han held his hand out. Raw, steam spewed from his palm. It was melting and sucking the moisture out of everything that it hit nearby. This wasn't normal steam. There was a reason why Han was wearing that armor. It protected those around him. His body had this uncontrollable layer of steam that he could not fully control. Despite his age, it was just something that he could not control. And he sent that towards Naruto. It hit Naruto hard. However, Han realized that there was a blue glow inside of his steam. Naruto was walking. There was a bubble surrounding him. As stated earlier, upon killing strong opponents, their strongest technique could be downloaded into the system and could be physically passed on to Naruto. All the details and information going into his mind. This was one of the techniques that he learned from a foe that he faced off against a long time ago. Han's team could not get through or reach inside. As Naruto kept on walking, the bubble started to slowly retract, becoming a shield around his body. As Naruto moved off, he appeared in front of Han. Han ducked under the blow. Naruto landed on his hands as he brought both of his legs down. Han blocked it as he crossed his arms. He jumped away from Naruto as he proceeded to remove the armor from his mouth, using his chakra to focus his steam on where Naruto was. It just kept on spewing out. Han seemed to believe that if his steam got hot enough, he could burn through the bubble of chakra that surrounded Naruto at the moment. However, Naruto kept on walking right through said steam. Realizing that it was not working, Han decided to kick things up a notch when he heard a scream. He turned and looked to see majority of his men. They were already dead. Han was baffled by what he saw. In such a short amount of time, Naruto was gone. Han watched as he disappeared and reappeared all around the place, right towards all of the dead bodies. Han was confused what he was doing. Han decided to use this as his chance. He started to send a large amount of chakra down to his hand, preparing himself, readying himself, realizing that this individual was far stronger than was stated. He needed to go in with more force. His dark eyes changed to resemble that of the five tails, the dolphin horse, as Han lowered himself into a running stance, like a literal juggernaut about to break through everything. Han saw his moment as he rushed forward. Naruto turned as he seemed to be too slow to react. Han slammed into him head first with all of his might. Using the power of the tail beast, Naruto was sent sailing. He crashed on the ground hard. Two ninjas brought their hand forward and slammed it to their stomach as they spew a strange white substance over Naruto. Another one rushed forward and he spewed flames out of his mouth, hardening the substance. Naruto seemed to be quite out of it, quite dizzy. Han arrived in front of him, both of his hands locked together as he slammed it into Naruto's skull. The force was enough to crack the substance that Naruto was in and knock Naruto out cold. As his body lay there limp, Han looked around as he realized that all the shadowy figures were now gone. "Let's go," he said as he grabbed Naruto. Time skip. Orochimaru was in a pitch black room, trembling. The Sannin was not wearing a bit of clothes. His whole body was shaking. The Sannin was afraid to even close his eyes. His eyes were wide open, marks under his eyes to show that he has not slept for some time now. The Sannin was terrified. It kept on happening. The dreams were the worst. He's been stabbed, ripped apart, boiled alive. The pain was unbearable. The Sannin could not go on living like this. But neither could he die. The mark on his head kept on healing him. He didn't know what this was. He needed help to get rid of it. He was desperate, truly desperate. And he was going to do something that he would have never done in a million years. Time skip. Oniki was making his way. Walking beside him was Han, as Oniki was floating off the ground. The rumors spread rather quickly about the missing son of Minato Namikaze. Hearing that, Oniki used it as his chance to get a one-up on the Hidden Leaf Village, and Minato as well. Years after years, the stigma, the defeat that the Hidden Stones suffer by one man, has plagued their name, making them look weak. Time after time again, when Konoha was attacked, they always prevail. So Oniki figured that he could hurt Minato in other ways. Oniki truly despised the man who had changed the tide of the war when he was on the verge of winning. Not to mention, the man took 2 kids away from him who were on the battlefield. They were slaughtered before they could even know what was going on. And Oniki truly despised the man for that. So finding out that he had a son out there, it was not hard to find him. The child was not making it too hard for people to hunt him down. Once Oniki got said information he sent out, the best of the best that he could spare, the whole council was in agreement of this. They believed that by hurting Minato that it would somehow make them feel better. A lot of them had lost children, wives, husbands. So yes, it will, by their point of view. So Oniki decided to send his team out. When Han came back with the wonderful news, he was delighted to hear it. Oniki was going way down, underground in the hidden rock. This was a special prison cell, locking someone away from reality, not just the upside society but reality. It completely cut off any sense of living. Oniki made his way down there. This was for the criminals that did the worstest crimes within the village or within the nation. Finally arriving as 10 guards were situated at each corner section as they kept on opening several locked doors, locked with chakra. When they finally arrived towards a gigantic door, Oniki himself had to rest his hand on it, allowing the chakra from his hand to resonate with said door. The door had been kept open, and when Naruto was thrown inside, they locked it. So Oniki was the only one now. Well, there was a few others, high members of his staff that could open it, not without him knowing though, or without his authority. So with that, the massive door opened. Inside, lying on the ground, was Naruto. He was just lying there. There was a shackle around his arm, around his neck, around his legs, around his waist, one around his forehead, that bind him to the ground, spread eagle. Oniki floated over him. "Do you know who I am?" he said. "Yes," said Naruto. "So I presume you know why you're here." "Past grudges," said Naruto. "You hate Minato Namikaze for what he did in the 3rd Great Shinobi War. So you wanted to kidnap me because you just found out that I am his son, in order to make him suffer. Is that correct?" said Naruto. He then said something that confused Oniki. 1. Oniki skipped past that though. "Well, it seems you're a really smart boy," Oniki said. "However, you wouldn't be talking so casually if you know what is in store for you." 5, said Naruto. Oniki raised the eyebrow. What is with the numbers? Tell me something, said Naruto. By killing me, do you think that you will somehow feel better about yourself? Do you think that it will bring back the people that you lost? Those that have been killed by my father? And for another thing, it was a war, if I'm not mistaken. Didn't your people kill some of the Hidden Leaf ninjas? That does not concern you, Oniki said. 23, said Naruto. Oniki raised the eyebrow at that. What with the numbers? He said once again. You know, you should have let go of your grievances. You wouldn't have lost the people that you lost if you had. My ninjas knew exactly what they were going into when they came after you. Because just like myself, they want your father to suffer for what he did. For the people that he wronged. For the people that he killed. 53, said Naruto. Oniki eye twitch at this boy not taking this seriously. He made his way towards a wall and pressed something on the wall. All the shackles started to pull. They started to produce agonizing pain through Naruto. These shackles also had chakra suppression seals. Yet Oniki found it strange that the shackles were not pulling as hard as they could. He's rather strong, Han said. That doesn't matter. His body should not be holding up this well. 105, said Naruto. Oniki clenched his fist as he applied more pressure. Naruto started to laugh. Oniki stopped the machine. Would you mind enlightening me to what is so funny? Well, it's funny that in the next few minutes, you're going to release me and give me free passage out of your village and apologize for what you did. Oniki was truly caught off guard by that statement. And why in the hell would I do something like that? 221, said Naruto. Oniki eye twitched once again. Han, he said. On it. Oniki exit the room. You are going to be the one that will be begging in a moment, he said. Han started to remove his armor to produce his steam. 329, said Naruto. 504. 602. They're really moving fast now. Suddenly, Han heard some commotion as he turned his gaze. Oniki did not completely lock the door yet. One of his ninjas came out of breath. What is it? Oniki said. Sir, it's a massacre. The ninja said with a frightful look on his face. What? Oniki said. These strange shadow demons. They came out of nowhere. They're attacking the village. There's so much of them. They're killing everyone. 1008. Oniki snapped his head towards Naruto. The realization of his words clicked into the old man's mind. He flew towards him. What are you doing? He said. Well, you have your people. I have mine. You were smart to put these suppressing chakra seals on me. But my people don't need my chakra to work, said Naruto. If I have to say, I'm like a one-man army, Naruto said with a smile, as he seemed to find this funny. 1812. Oniki's eyes went wide as he heard an explosion. That couldn't be possible, given their location. They're coming, said Naruto. Oniki turned. He raised his hand and quickly did his particle style, incinerate in the shadow, which simply rushed towards Naruto. Oniki's eyes went wide as he felt the whole place shaking. Watch him, he said to two of the guards. He flew as fast as he could, Han right behind him. The two guards turned towards Naruto. You know, if you two were smart, you would release me right now. Because in the next 5 minutes, if I'm still here, this village will burn, Naruto said. The guards swallowed thickly as they could feel the ground shaking, despite how far they were on the ground. Oniki flew back up to the surface and the village was a mess. Boom! He turned. Oniki was shocked when one of the tallest buildings was obliterated. Hundreds, no, thousands of shadow warriors were running. And the problem with these things were, they were not alive. Pain was something that they did not feel. They could be destroyed, but they would not completely vanish. But pain was not something that they could feel. Stabbing them through the stomach would only prove with them taking your head off before you could actually kill them. Oniki watched as he rained chaos through his village. He heard something as he turned his gaze to see his granddaughter, Kurosaki. "No, stop," he said. Standing above her was one of the shadows. He had a blade at her throat. The shadow looked right at him and Oniki knew what he desired. That is when he saw it. Countless of his people were being held at sword and all kind of points. Several more were on the ground dead. Buildings were burning. Despite his strength, despite the power that he has, Oniki could not overcome this. They would be able to cause more damage in the village than he could stop, despite his ninjas and their predicaments. Despite not wanting to. For the sake of his people, I'll free him. Just stop, he said. Tell them to stop. The shadows kept on doing it. Kept on slaughtering his people. I said tell them to stop, Oniki said. Screaming as he did. Now feeling huge and immense regret for what he did. The shadow picked up Kurosaki. She was unconscious. The blade still at her throat. He tilted his head, showing Oniki to walk. Oniki felt humiliated, beaten, battered, broken. That he had the power and yet, now he was being forced to give in to the enemy demands. He clenched his fists. He could not even fight at his fullest and use his particle style toward his fullest. Otherwise he risked annihilating thousands of his people, and more so destroying his village. He had no chance. He had no choice. Regrettably, he walked down to where the cell was. The walk seemed to be excruciating long, humiliating as he walked. He kept his eye on the shadow that kept a blade at Kurosaki's throat. One wrong move and she was dead. Well. Look who's back, said Naruto. The guards raised their weapons. Toward the shadow, Oniki raised his hand, stopping the both of them. Oniki took a deep breath. Call them off, he said. Free me, said Naruto. Call them off. I'm not going to tell you to free me again, Naruto said, looking at the man directly into his eyes. Oniki placed his hand on the wall, his chakra activating. The shackles fell off Naruto's body. Naruto picked himself up and flexed as he cracked his neck. You know, next time, you should really check who you're going after. Do you really think that your man could have brought me in so easily? Naruto said as he turned his gaze towards Han. The only reason why I came here was to make you understand that if you try this again, if you try to come after me, or my siblings, if you try any retribution in trying to hurt me in any way, I will return and I'll slaughter everyone here, down to the last man. I'll kill every single one, and I'll leave you as a sole survivor to make you understand your wrongdoings. Do you understand me? Naruto said, looking at the man. By the way, I think you owe me something. Oniki clenched his fists. I did say that. You have to apologize. Oniki did not say anything. His gaze getting more and more dangerous. The two guards had to back away. The bloodlust that was reeking from Oniki was too much for them to handle. Naruto was unaffected by it though. Naruto released a breath. You want to know something? You see those shadows out there? All of them has their own chakra source. And it's quite a lot. When they're killed, they simply return back to me. However, something between you and I. If the situation becomes too much, and they're going down but they want to take their opponent down with them, they can self-destruct, gathering all that chakra in their body, and then releasing it all at once. Once they do that though, they will not return to me. They will officially be dead. For the second time, I guess. But one of them exploding can cause quite a nasty blast that will take out countless of your buildings. Imagine all of them going boom. Oniki clenches fists. And I'm only gonna say this once more. Apologize. Oniki saw the blade going closer to Kurasaki's neck. Stop, he said. He looked down towards the ground. He swallowed thickly. I'm sorry, he said. For what? For coming after you. See? That is quite easy, said Naruto. I told you that if you had left past grievances, over 2,000 of your people wouldn't be dead right now. And now because of what you started, you have to explain to them why. No retribution can be done because of this, said Naruto as he walked by the man. Oniki walked behind him. Let go of her. Once I'm out of your village, said Naruto, I'll remove them all immediately. Walking through the village, ninjas of all over were at a standby, shocked to see this man just walking out. Naruto's face remained unchanged. There wasn't any cocky smirk or anything. It was just calm. Completely so. As he finally arrived towards the outskirts, the shadow dropped Kurosaki. Naruto held his hand up as all the other shadows came rushing towards him, leaping from building to building, making their way. They all landed right behind him. To show the vast amount, Naruto turned his back. You're old enough to have been through a lot. The next time, before you make a move, think, said Naruto, as all the shadows started rapidly suck into his shadow. The next moment, his own shadow came up and swallowed him whole, and he was gone, leaving Oniki in a horrible state. The event that followed had truly rocked him to his very core. What he has done, what he did, that ended with so many bodies within this village, and all of those bodies were his people. The shame and guilt for his mistake was overwhelming. Time skip. News spread like wildfire. Almost everyone was quickly alerted to this news as it spread all over the elemental nation. The Hidden Stone was not a minor nation, so to hear that one person enter and exit, slaughtering so much people, it was a rather shocking affair. At Konoha, Minato Namikaze was in his office completely shocked as he read the report that Jiraiya had sent him. Soon enough, the information would spread to the whole village. Naruto was not hiding anything. The fact that several traveling merchants saw him walking as his army of shadows were sucked into his body and he left. Everyone presumed that it was him. And the fact that no retaliation move has been made against the individual by the Hidden Stone, it was truly shocking. They have not placed him in the Big O book. They haven't done anything. No, that was confusing to most. Was the village truly that scared of one person. Minato did not know what to say about this news. For years now, Naruto had been silent. Given the recent information that he found out that Naruto had lost someone precious to him, he still did not believe that Naruto would attack the stone for no reason. He believed that Oniki did something to trigger his son into a fit of rage, and he paid the consequences. This was the first that a village has been hit like this and choosing not to make a move against the person that did it. However, given the body count, Minato could understand Oniki was afraid. Minato was worried though. He was worried. What was going to happen next? He was worried about Naruto. Meanwhile, that was going on. Itachi Uchiha excused himself as he was just speaking to Izumi. Itachi, who was going to be the clan head very soon. His father would be passing the title down towards him. He had access to all sorts of information now, to people that the Uchihas linked with outside the village. The news came to the clans first. Itachi found out about what happened, and he realized that Naruto was becoming unstable. He knew that the hidden stone was behind this, but Naruto would have never done something like this in the past. The fact that so many people died, Itachi knew that it was going to happen sooner or later, but it seems that the event was taking place now, and he was worried about his friend. Mental health. Naruto had made his view on his family very clear, about him not returning back to Konoha, and Itachi could not do anything to change that. However, he was worried. Meanwhile, sitting in his mechanical walker, as Konan relayed the information towards him, the man was shocked. More so. First of all, he found out that this boy was actually the son of Minato Namikaze. No wonder why he was so powerful. That man's genes seemed to carry these powerful cells about them that spread to his children. Minato was an obstacle in the organization for the main purpose that his daughter had the 9 tails, and going after her would incur the wrath of that man. However, a god does not need to fear a man. That was a mindset that Nagato had at the moment, the leader of the organization known as the Akatsuki. However, the world was currently in chaos. The power balance had shifted once again. Everyone was rather shocked to find out that one person could bring a village down to its knees. Nagato did not doubt that he could do that himself, but having it out there, and given the fact that the hidden stone seemed to be afraid to retaliate, was making things a whole lot worse. It was only a matter of time before this small event turned everything around it chaotic. However, that would be actually good for him and his organization. In chaos, there was always confusion. In confusion, they could gather the tail pieces. Time skip. Reina was by herself. This was a chance that she was looking for. Reina pulled out something. It was a small box. This was given to her by Naruto. She had no choice but to use it now. She was a part of the organization. She did not care much for the Akatsuki. In her desperate time alone, she was confronted by the leader. That is where they fought, and he won. And she had no choice but to join or die. Her hatred for her former village would not allow her to die, so she chose the first option, join. However, it was not something that she would do on her own free will, so she did not care much for the organization, nor was she fully loyal to it. The opportunity was now here for her to do this with Kisame not here. As she pulled out the small box, she applied chakra to it, hoping that this would work. He said it would work. Meanwhile, Naruto was sitting on a cliffside, glancing down when he felt something. As he looked around, he closed his eyes. As for Reina, she found herself being shut down. Her mind putting her in a state of connection with him. Reina blinked as Naruto was in front of her. The both of them stood in a black empty space. Naruto looked at her surprised. Given how long I gave that to you, I'm surprised you would use it now. He noticed the look on her face. What's wrong? If either of us was to come to blow with each other, and we were serious, one of us would eventually die. I heard about your recent attack on the Hidden Stone. I know that you've grown vastly stronger over the years. And just like how I felt when I first lost him, she said looking down, remembering the only man that she ever loved. At the moment, you're finding it hard to express or even feel your emotions. Why are you telling me this? Said Naruto. I never told you, but the Akatsuki, they're going after the tail beasts. Naruto raised the eyebrow at that. And I know, if we are successful in kidnapping the Nine Tails, you would come after us all, and you would not give me a chance to try to talk you down at all. Naruto clenched his fists. The look in his eyes was changing. Calm down, she said. We've not done anything but we're currently on the way. We got information that your sister has headed out with Jiraiya of the Sannin. We're not sure what they're after, but given the location, they would probably be in Tanzukagai in 2 days. And me and my partner Kisame are going there now. And I have a job to do. So there, she said to him. Naruto watched her as he had yet to say anything yet. She looked at him, waiting for a response. Leave the organization, said Naruto. I can't, she said. Not that I can't just get up and leave, but just like you, it is giving me a purpose to do something. However, I figured that keeping your sister out of harm's way is the best I could do for you. The others are fair game. And is it not? The organization goal together, all of them, said Naruto. Yes, but we will just have to do what we have to do when that time comes. Naruto looked at her. As he started to walk away, he was gone the next moment. Reina blinked as she was back. As she could sense Kisame coming her way, she stored the box away. Back with Naruto as he opened his eyes, he got to his feet. The words were so connected. He knew that Reina was just as broken as him. The only person that she ever loved died. And there was nothing that she could do about that at all. So she needed a purpose to keep on going. Despite being forced into this organization, it gave her something, a purpose. His purpose was tormenting and torturing Orochimaru, but soon enough, that would become empty. It was already losing what he was feeling in the first place. After all, putting the Sannin through hell would not bring her back. However, he still had family that deserved to live their life, that deserved to be happy, and he refused to let them down, especially when he could do something about it. With that, Naruto was gone. Time skip. Jiraiya was making his way, as Mito was by his side. The both of them were going after Tsunade. Jiraiya believed that she would be able to convince Tsunade a bit more to return. Granted, the both of them has never truly met before. However, he believed the closeness of Kushina and Mito would play a big part in returning Tsunade. The both of them did look exactly alike, especially when Kushina was younger. Not to mention Mito had a way with words with people. and Mito always wanted to meet her. She was inspired by her, and Minato believed that it was time that Tsunade returned back home. Mito had all sorts of questions. She, along with many others, heard about what happened, and she refused to believe that her brother would do something like that for no particular reason. The Hidden Stone always had a grudge for her entire family. They despised her father, so she did not. She was not surprised that, just after her brother's identity was leaked, they sent people after him. That must be the case. Jiraiya also believed that as well, as he saw no reason for Naruto to just go and attack the village for absolutely no reason. He doubted that would be the case. Naruto had shown no interest in getting back with his family, but he did not look like that kind of person at all, and Jiraiya refused to believe it. This was the second town though as they searched. He was able to find Tsunade pretty easily last time. Maybe it was just good luck, but now he was having a hard time. Arriving there, he decided to make his way off. He was going to gather some information as he left Mito in the hotel room, unaware of the dangers that were lurking nearby. It wasn't long before Mito heard a knock. However, being a touch sensor like her father, as she rested her hand, her eyes widened in surprise. She was confused. These chakra levels, these weren't normal people. She raised her guard as she slowly and cautiously approached the door. She brought her hands up just in case. A clone appeared beside her. Said clone went towards the door and opened it. However, the moment the clone opened said door, a sword slammed right into it, aiming to knock said clone out. However, it poofed away because it was a clone. That is when she saw a really large man, followed by a woman. The both of them were standing there at her door. Smart kid, Kisame said. However, I'm afraid that Kisame never got to finish the sentence. He was blasted through the wall. Mito saw it move fast. Brother? She said with shock all over her face, as two of Naruto's stronger shadows landed in front of Reina. There was a smile on her face. I can do with a good workout, she said, lightning sparkling off her fingers. Mito rushed towards a hole that was in the wall. As she quickly jumped out, she was certain that was her brother. Meanwhile, Kisame shook his head, picking himself up in the process, along with Samehata, as he blinked. What the hell just hit him? That is when he focused on the person. It's you, he said, surprised. You're the one that humiliated Saucer and Deidara. I must say, that gave me a fun laugh. It's nice to meet you. Kisame seemed rather cheery and happy. I heard about your recent endeavor in the Hidden Stone, and I wanted to see how truly strong you were, given the information I got from those two. Kisame pulled Samehata, a toothy grin on his face, despite the fact that he was here to do something. Reina could do that, he thought. Naruto held his hand out. Kisame watched as he pulled a blade out of literally nowhere. Samehata was squirming away from said blade. Kisame had to ask what was wrong. The blade was releasing a strange ooze. That was definitely not chakra, a whitish ooze of power. What the hell is that? You're Kisame, the tailless tail beast, said Naruto, with a sword that can suck chakra. Am I correct? Well, it seems that you did your homework on me. I'm flattered, he said. And all I know about you is that you're the son of the fourth Hokage and that you're strong. But that's enough. Kisame was gone as he appeared behind Naruto. Naruto turned and sliced. Kisame jumped away as 3 of the scales of Samehata fell off. Samehata could not regenerate them. The sword was squirming Kisame quickly applied chakra as Samehata cover itself. No, that's something. He reached and blocked Naruta's swipe. To his shock though, the chakra was being destroyed. Yes, the strange energy was destroying the chakra on his blade, carving into Samehata. The sword squirmed as it reached out, trying to bite Naruta's hand clean off. Naruto slammed his foot in its face. Well, the mouth area, knocking the sword out of Kisame's hand. The force shocked the shark man. Kisame turned as Naruto's fist buried into his face. He bounced across the ground several times. When he finally came to a stop, he spun as Naruto's blade gouged out the earth. He got to his feet and lashed out with a kick. Naruto blocked it with his arm. The both of them went into a full kin and taijutsu battle right there. Kisame trying his hardest to avoid the blade that seemed to be able to negate chakra, going so far as to harm Samehata that badly. He jumped away. His Akatsuki cloak was torn and ripped in several areas. Yet the smile on his face never changed as he flashed through handslide. He flooded the entire place, water pouring out of his mouth. Kisame used that to his advantage as several sharks, created from water, jumped towards Naruto and exploded, causing him enough time to run. He slammed a fist in Naruto's gut. However, Naruto gripped his arm. Kisame was shocked. Naruto's elbow slammed into his nose area that being. Naruto was not done yet as he grabbed him by the face and brought him down, bursting through the water as his body slammed against a pavement. Naruto kicked him across the face. Kisame flew into a building and destroyed it with his body. However, he burst out of it. He was wielding Samehata once again, but Samehata was surrounded by a huge vortex of water. Raw speed, Naruto teleported away. However, behind him was none other than Mito. Damn it, he thought. Naruto kicked his speed into overdrive. Mito could not escape this. The water was too much. She blinked and she was gone. She felt like her father had grabbed her butt. She was now resting on the roof that was almost completely submerged. Standing beside her, Big brother, she said, a shocked look on her face. Get back, said Naruto, placing his hand in front of her. Now, he said. She jumped away as Kisame obliterated the roof, Naruto blocking him with his fists. The whole place came tearing down. The both of them started to trade blows. Naruto drove his fist into Kisame's guts. The shark man puked out blood and slammed his head into Naruto's nose. Naruto grabbed him and banged his head back into Kisame's face. The both of them pulled their head back and wham! The force was tremendous. However, Kisame was the one that was now dizzy. Naruto stomped into his gut, throwing him away. Naruto flashed into the sky. He held his hand out as electricity started to gather on his palm. He came down like a lightning and slammed a punch right into Kisame's stomach. The excess lightning from his hand ricocheted through the whole water. Kisame screamed as his whole body was being violently electrocuted. Kisame formed one hand sign and created a shark that jumped towards Naruto. It slammed right into him as it was 10 times larger than the others. However, Naruto used his bare hands and tore the chakra construction to pieces with his chakra that dominated it. Kisame picked himself up. His body was badly burned and scarred. He reached out as Samehata started to squirm towards him. However, dagger rush he heard. Samehata screamed and wailed as Naruto daggers ripped and tore into it. Kisame snapped his gaze towards Naruto for once, looking pissed off. He appeared behind Naruto and swung Naruto duck. Kisame brought his leg down. Naruto caught it and flicked him. Before he kicked Kisame right through a building, the short man crashed hard. Kisame spat up blood. He had no choice. He had to use it. He brought his hand up, however. Reina appeared beside him. "We have to go," she said. Kisame was panting, bloody, as Naruto was walking towards their position. Reina nudged her head to the side to show none other than Jiraiya. Kisame cursed as he coughed up blood in the process. He turned as he saw Reina had Samehata. "I grabbed this for you." "Damn it. Let's go," he said, as both of them caused a distraction and got the hell out of there. Naruto turned his gaze. "Big brother," he heard. Rushing over towards him was none other than Mito. "You're here," she said, looking rather shocked. However, she needed to know. "Did the Hidden Stone try to capture you?" she said. Naruto looked at her, surprised. That was the first question that she asked him. "They did capture me. And I had to do what I had to do to get out of there." "See, I know it," she said, looking toward Jiraiya. "They were the ones that came after him." "Why are you here?" said Naruto. She quickly spoke. "We're looking for Senju Tsunade," she said, hoping that he would suddenly change his mind and agree to come along with them. Naruto turned his gaze away from her though. Jiraiya noticed a look on his face like he felt something, as he muttered something, but they didn't hear what he said. He vanished. "No!" Mito shouted. But he was already gone. "Damn it. Not again," she said. Jiraiya was surprised at Naruto being here at the right moment. Did he have some sort of tracker on her? He didn't know. Meanwhile, Tsunade came to a stop. She was alone. "I know you're there." "Well, I'm not exactly trying to hide," the voice said. Tsunade turned. "What the hell is wrong with you?" she said, looking towards none other than Orochimaru. He had bags under his eyes. His hair was pale and stringy. His whole body seemed frail and weakened. "Tsunade, good to see you as well," he said. He was wobbling on his feet. "I need your help." "And why the hell would I ever help you?" "Oh, I'm sure you're going to like what I'm going to ask." To her surprise, he collapsed on his knees. Looking up, Tsunade was baffled. He had tears in his eyes, something that shocked her. "I need you to kill me," he said to her. But guys, be and subscribe right here. If you want to see the next part on do, like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on that bell notification to stay posted. But I'm out for now. See you guys soon. Peace.